Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. Perfectionism, or being perfect, it sounds great. It even sounds admirable. It sounds like it could be the highest standard possible. So why, in my opinion, is it the lowest possible standard we can give ourselves? Well, because it's absolutely impossible to be perfect. If we're saying we're going to be perfect before we can have that relationship that we want, or before we can have the job that we want, or before we can start a hobby that we want to start, we're basically saying that we're never going to do it because that standard of perfection is impossible to achieve. Perfection is the biggest lie that we tell ourselves, and it's the biggest reason unknowingly that we hold ourselves back from the opportunities that we want to have. It's the biggest reason that we stay stuck in our current situations. So when I was a child, I went through some things and I didn't feel like I was loved or that I was appreciated. So I remember actually making this deal with myself and actually saying to myself, I know what I'll do. I'll be perfect, and then they'll have to love me. They'll have to appreciate me. But then as I went through life, what happened was that because I had this standard of perfection that I felt like I had to constantly meet, I was being a pleaser and a good girl, and I was trying to get people to like me and trying to be perfect all the time, which ultimately pushes people away, and it makes you come across as needy and like you're trying to manipulate people or trying to manipulate the circumstance. It just gives the energy that you don't feel like you're good enough. And because you've set this impossible standard of perfection, you are not feeling good enough about yourself. And that was the question that was always going through my mind. That was the question that was always going through my mind was, what's wrong with me? Why am I not good enough? Why am I not attracting the right relationships? Why am I not able to do things that I want to do, like go for opportunities that I want to go for? I also used to have experiences where I would see like other women who would have boyfriends, and they were definitely not being the good girl. They were definitely not being perfect. And this boyfriend loved and adored this woman. And I would like wonder why am I being perfect and being so good and I'm not attracting the right people into my life? I don't have a loving boyfriend. And I didn't realise it's because I had this program of I need to be perfect. And then that assumption was saying you're not good enough. If you keep telling yourself that you have to be perfect and you keep striving for this level of perfection, it's actually a form of self-hate. And it has the assumption or the underlying question that you're not good enough and that you'll never be good enough. So this is what I did to eventually get out of it. So first of all, I had to know who I really am. That really who I am is pure consciousness, and I'm perfect. I am perfection and I am love. And all of these subconscious programs that I've learned, all these patterns that I've learned are not who I am. They're not who I really am. They're just patterns and they're just behaviours that I've learned through my life, through things that have happened in childhood and through different experiences. They're not who I am. So I had to just drop all of that baggage, drop all of the past and come into the present moment and know who I really am. And I am perfect. I might not do everything perfectly. I might not have perfect behaviours or perfect actions, but I am perfect and I am pure consciousness. I also had to stop being unkind to myself, had to start being kind, and had to catch myself all these times when I kept looking at situations that I'd been through or looking at conversations that I had and picking them apart and saying to myself, oh, I shouldn't have said that or I shouldn't have done that. Had to be compassionate on myself. Had to know that I don't need to be perfect in every situation, and that as long as my intentions are good, that's good enough. Also, what I had to do was be compassionate on myself. And when I made a mistake, when I was doing an opportunity that I wanted to do or doing something like singing I wanted to do, instead of being harsh on myself and saying I'm not good enough because I made that mistake, I had to learn a lesson from that mistake. So if I was singing, for example, and I cracked at a note, then I would have to go through that and say, oh, why did I crack? Why did I make that mistake? And see if I can adjust things for the future. So get curious about mistakes rather than beating yourself up about mistakes. Had to also consciously put my attention on giving myself love and on sitting in those feelings of love and appreciation for myself. I had to imagine what it would feel like to not have to be perfect and to be good enough as I am, and to sit in those feelings of feeling good enough as I am right now. So being in the present moment and knowing who I am. I also started using askfirmations. So asking myself the right questions. If you ask yourself the wrong questions, so my question was always, what's wrong with me? Then your brain will come up with the answer as to what's wrong with you. It'll come up with all kinds of stuff like you're not good enough, you're boring, you have the wrong intentions, or whatever it's going to come up with. So if you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers. These are some of the askfirmations that I've been consciously asking myself every day. So why do I get kinder and kinder every day? Why am I growing in wisdom every single day? Why am I getting better and better at fill in the blank every single day? Why am I growing in wealth every single day? Why do I get healthier and healthier every single day? Start asking yourself these kinds of questions consciously and see how your life changes as a result. See how much more confident and how much more peaceful you feel after asking these questions. Being perfect is just not attractive. Authenticity is the number one most attractive quality that people have. Authentic people always have the right people in their lives. They always attract the right people in their lives. They're always treated with respect, and they always go for the opportunities that they want to go for and usually achieve high things. They're putting out into the atmosphere or into the universe that they're good enough as they are. So set a new standard for yourself today, and that standard is I'm authentic and I'm going to be my authentic self. I'm going to be my true self with all my imperfections and all my quirkiness, and I'm good enough as I am. Come back to the present moment and know who you really are, which is true consciousness, pure consciousness, and you are perfect. You are perfect as you are. You don't need to strive and achieve perfectionism. You don't need to try and be something that you're not. You can be your true self. You are good enough as you are. I hope that this video helped. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.